In just 2 years, Kris Wu's career skyrocketed. He landed coveted film roles and prestigious awards that veteran actors spent a lifetime striving for. Before turning 30, he was earning 150 million yuan, over $21 million annually, becoming the golden face of countless luxury brands. It seemed like his glory would last forever, until a shocking scandal in 2021 shattered everything. Now, Kris Wu's reality is starkly different. Cold prison walls, iron bars, and a painful lesson about fleeting success. What comes easily can vanish just as fast. Today, let's uncover the full story behind one of the most devastating falls from grace in Chinese entertainment history. Success or pure luck? The rise of Kris Wu. Kris Wu, born Li Jiaheng in 1990 in Guangzhou, Guangdong Province, had anything but a smooth start. After his parents divorced, he moved to Vancouver, Canada with his mother at the age of 10. Despite these early challenges, he made his way into the entertainment industry and debuted in 2012 as a member of the South Korean boy band EXO, serving as the leader of its Chinese subunit, EXO-M. 2014 marked a pivotal turning point in his career. In March 2014, Kris Wu established his own companies in Hong Kong and Beijing, signaling his ambition to break into mainland China's entertainment market. The following month, in April 2014, he appeared alongside EXO at Jackie Chan's 60th birthday celebration, an event that would unknowingly change the course of his life. During the event, a 13-year-old female fan took a backstage photo with Kris Wu and the EXO members. That fan was Chi Mei, daughter of Chi Jianhong, a billionaire businessman who first built his empire in computer technology before expanding into luxury goods trading. At the peak of his career, Chi Jianhong's wealth was estimated at 10 billion yuan, approximately 1.54 billion USD. Chi Jianhong was also the owner of the exclusive club Yaolai Prestige Society, a private network boasting over 3,000 billionaires as members. He was a close friend of Jackie Chan, a man known for his deep-rooted connections within China's entertainment industry. Through Chi Mei, Kris Wu gained unprecedented access to both the financial elite and entertainment powerhouses, securing two key advantages: massive capital backing from top investors and strong ties to the most influential figures in showbiz. By May 2014, Kris Wu formally filed a lawsuit to terminate his contract with his South Korean management company. Just a month later, in June 2014, at only 24 years old, he successfully joined the ranks of Jingquan. Jingquan, often translated as the Beijing Circle, refers to an elite network of highly influential cultural and entertainment figures in Beijing. This group originated from intellectuals and officials' families living in prestigious government compounds, where well-connected individuals naturally formed alliances to support each other. Over time, as some members rose to prominence, the circle expanded, evolving into one of the most powerful and exclusive networks in Chinese entertainment. Heavyweights such as Feng Xiaogang and Guan Hu, renowned directors in China, were key players in Jingquan. Leaders of top film companies like Huayi Brothers, along with A-list directors, screenwriters, and actors, were all part of this powerful circle. With exclusive access to major resources, they had the ability to shape, control, and even monopolize much of the Chinese entertainment industry. For Kris Wu, being accepted into Jingquan meant an express pass to the top. He now had direct access to blockbuster film roles, lucrative brand deals, and award-winning projects. Opportunities that veteran actors spent decades striving for. In just 2 years, Kris Wu ascended to superstardom, securing roles and accolades that most seasoned actors could only dream of. Reaching the peak and ambitions for global stardom. Shortly after joining Jingquan, the Beijing Circle, Kris Wu was cast as the leading actor in the film Somewhere Only We Know, directed by Xu Jinglei and written by Wang Shuo. The key figure behind securing this opportunity for him was none other than Jackie Chan. The film's success earned Kris Wu the Best New Actor award at the Beijing College Student Film Festival that year. In 2015, he continued his momentum by taking on major roles in 2 blockbuster films, Mr. Six, directed by Feng Xiaogang, and The Mermaid, helmed by the legendary Stephen Chow. By 2017, Kris Wu's career had reached its peak. With financial backing from Chi Jianhong, he landed roles in 2 Hollywood productions, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, directed by Luc Besson, and XXX Return of Xander Cage, where he starred alongside Vin Diesel and Donnie Yen. Beyond Hollywood, Kris Wu amassed prestigious accolades across various industries. He was featured on Forbes' 30 Under 30 Asia list, won Best Male Singer of the Year at the 11th Megu Music Awards, and took on the role of star producer for the hit reality show The Rap of China. His rapid ascent cemented his status as an A-list celebrity with tens of millions of fans. At the same time, he became the darling of major corporations, with luxury brands competing to sign him as their ambassador. Louis Vuitton, Beats by Dre, Mercedes-Benz, and McDonald's were just a few of the industry giants eager to capitalize on his immense popularity. In a short period, Kris Wu amassed an enormous fortune through endorsement deals and film projects, earning an estimated 150 million yuan, over $21 million annually. However, his deep entanglement in complex and powerful circles would ultimately lead to his downfall. Kris Wu branded as a disgraced artist. On July 18, 2021, Du Meizhu, a student at the Communication University of China, gave an explosive interview with NetEase Entertainment, accusing Kris Wu of luring young women into sexual relationships under the guise of artist recruitment and casting for a music video lead role. She claimed that during their first meeting, she was intoxicated, had her phone confiscated, and that the total number of victims far exceeded 8. On July 19, 2021, Kris Wu responded for the first time on Weibo, denying all allegations. "I only met Miss Du once, on December 5, 2020, at a casual gathering with friends. There was absolutely no forced drinking, no phone confiscation, and no inappropriate behavior," as she described. There were many people there that night who can vouch for this. Kris Wu's studio also issued a statement, calling Du Meizhu's lengthy posts and interviews fabricated. They further claimed that Kris Wu never registered a WeChat account, implying that the chat logs she had provided were fake. Later that evening, Kris Wu's studio made another revelation. Due to overwhelming public pressure, his mother had unilaterally transferred a total of 500,000 yuan, approximately $70,000, to Du Meizhu through both her personal account and Kris Wu's. By the night of July 22, 2021, the Chaoyang Public Security Bureau in Beijing released its investigation findings regarding Kris Wu and Du Meizhu. According to the police report, on December 5, 2020, Kris Wu's manager, Feng Mo, invited Du Meizhu, then 18 years old, to Kris Wu's home under the pretense of casting for a music video lead role. At the party, Du Meizhu consumed alcohol and later stayed overnight, after which she and Kris Wu engaged in sexual relations. The police confirmed that the two remained in contact via WeChat afterward. Following the police statement, major international brands including Bulgari, Porsche, Lancôme, L'Oréal Men, as well as Chinese brands like Yunting App, Tencent Video, Tempo, Kangshifu Iced Tea, Hanshu, Ziyuan, and Li Bai, all terminated their contracts with Kris Wu. Tencent's King of Glory, Huadi, and Liangpin Shop also announced they would not renew their partnerships with him. Industry analysts estimated Kris Wu's financial losses exceeded 1.5 billion new Taiwan dollars, over $50 million. Prior to this, Chinese state media outlets, including CCTV, had already launched a wave of public criticism against Kris Wu, labeling him a disgraced artist and calling for a complete industry blacklist. Some government agencies went as far as issuing official bans, preventing him from appearing on any media platforms. On August 2, 2021, all of Kris Wu's social media accounts were permanently shut down. His Weibo account alone had over 50 million followers. On Douban, a Chinese film and TV review platform, his name was replaced with the number 13370, effectively erasing his identity from the industry. His newly completed drama series, The Golden Hairpin, saw all its official Weibo posts deleted, leaving only a single post with no mention of the lead actors. Many individuals who had once publicly supported Kris Wu also suffered severe consequences. Among them were Su Meng, former editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar China, Ma Weiyi, a well-known producer, and Lu Lu, a prominent screenwriter. Even the two powerful companies that had backed him, Huayi Brothers and Yaolai Group, faced a disastrous fallout. The collapse of Kris Wu's power network. In 2016, Kris Wu faced his first major sex scandal when internet celebrity Little Gina Wang Kejia accused him of manipulating and being involved with multiple women at the same time. However, rather than damaging his career, the controversy only made him even more famous. At the time, Jackie Chan himself stepped in to help Kris Wu weather the crisis. He publicly defended him, saying, "Everyone has scandals. It's normal. I've had them too. These things will pass." But Jackie Chan wasn't the only one protecting Kris Wu. The Yao Lai Film Group, led by Chi Jian-hong, also played a significant role in shielding him. By 2018, Chi Jian-hong had amassed a staggering 170 billion yuan, $27 billion in wealth, earning a spot on Hurun's global billionaire list. Yao Lai was the second largest shareholder in Beijing Windtown Holdings Limited, a company under the control of the Beijing Cultural Asset Management Office. Chi Jian-hong also had close ties to Jackie Chan. In 2010, Yao Lai acquired the Jackie Chan brand and collaborated with him to open the Yao Lai Jackie Chan cinema chain in China. By 2017, the chain had 87 theaters with an annual net profit of 434 million yuan, $68 million. In June 2016, just days after Kris Wu's scandal, Yao Lai announced an exclusive partnership with Xingri Culture, taking full control of Kris Wu's advertising and film contracts in China. Following this move, his scandals mysteriously disappeared, and he continued his meteoric rise, securing major film roles and earning an estimated 150 million yuan, $23 million annually. Between 2017 and 2020, Kris Wu consistently ranked in Forbes China's top 10 celebrities and was even invited as a guest lecturer at the Jackie Chan Film Academy while collaborating with Wuhan Institute of Technology and Design. However, everything changed when President Xi Jinping launched a sweeping crackdown on China's entertainment industry. In 2018, Yao Lai suffered a 50 million yuan loss, marking the beginning of its downfall. By October 2018, the company declared bankruptcy, and Chi Jian-hong was blacklisted as an unpayable debtor overnight. He resigned from all positions, and his personal assets were frozen. In March 2021, Yao Lai sold all 282 million shares in Windtown Holdings, officially exiting the list of top shareholders. At the same time, another key player backing Kris Wu, Huayi Brothers Media Corporation, also fell into crisis. In 2018, the yin-yang contract scandal involving Feng Xiaogang and Fan Bingbing was exposed, triggering a government-led industry purge. The Chinese government imposed stricter tax regulations and financial scrutiny, causing Huayi Brothers' stock value to plummet by 90%. The company suffered its first losses in a decade since going public. In 2019 and 2020, Huayi continued to bleed money. And if not for policy changes by the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock exchanges, it would have been delisted from the Chinex stock market due to consecutive losses. By July 2021, Huayi Brothers was drowning in debt. The company took out a 700 million yuan, $109 million loan and delayed repayment until January 5, 2022, marking its third debt extension in just 2 years. Once valued at 90 billion yuan, $14 billion in 2015, Huayi Brothers had helped elevate Kris Wu's career, casting him in blockbuster films alongside A-list stars and Feng Xiaogang. However, after his scandal broke, Huayi faced money laundering allegations, though the company denied any wrongdoing. Without Chi Jian-hong's financial backing, Kris Wu also lost Jackie Chan's support. Stripped of his Jingquan, Beijing Circle connections, no one could rescue him this time, as they had done during his 2016 scandal. A tragic end for a young star. On November 25, 2023, the Chaoyang District People's Court in Beijing sentenced Kris Wu to 13 years in prison, fined him 600 million yuan, 84 million, and ordered his deportation from China. He was convicted on charges of rape and group licentiousness. Beyond the criminal charges, the court also revealed that between 2019 and 2020, Kris Wu had used shell companies to misrepresent the nature of his income sources and conceal personal earnings through multiple domestic and offshore entities. He was found guilty of evading 95 million yuan, $13.3 million in taxes, with an additional 84 million yuan, $11.7 million, in unpaid tax obligations still outstanding. While working in China's entertainment industry, Kris Wu leveraged his celebrity status and industry connections to ensure that domestic companies and overseas organizations run by Chinese nationals paid his personal earnings into foreign-registered corporate accounts. This scheme was designed to hide taxable income from Chinese authorities and evade government tax oversight. Investigators concluded that, compared to previously exposed tax evasion cases, Kris Wu's methods were far more sophisticated, covert, and posed a serious threat to financial regulation. Kris Wu appealed the verdict to the Beijing No. 3 Intermediate People's Court, but on November 24, 2023, the appellate court upheld the original ruling. In October 2023, 3 companies linked to Kris Wu were forcibly liquidated to settle debts totaling 18.96 million yuan, $2.65 million. After his arrest, state media turned its attention to 22 other celebrities, accusing them of fraudulently profiting from the hot pot restaurant franchise industry, exploiting franchisees with exorbitant fees. Meanwhile, Weibo summoned over 20 celebrity management studios for questioning. Television strategist and financial expert Shi Shusi remarked, "Kris Wu's case could be a sign that authorities are preparing for a complete purge of the entertainment industry." Indeed, shortly after his conviction, Zhang Zhehan and Zhao Wei were blacklisted from the industry. Zheng Shuang was fined 299 million yuan, $41.7 million, for yin-yang contracts, tax fraud. Piano prodigy Li Yundi was arrested for soliciting prostitution and subsequently expelled from both the Chinese Musicians Association and the China Association of Performing Arts. Kris Wu rose to fame quickly, but fell even faster. Was it due to his own actions or the ruthless nature of the industry? Is Kris Wu causing trouble behind bars? In 2021, just 1 month into his detention for investigation, Kris Wu struggled to adapt to life behind bars. He was reportedly terrified and often screamed out in fear. He suffered both physically and mentally, a source told HK01. He applied for bail but was denied. At the time, Kris was placed in a private cell due to his public status, but he wasn't granted any special privileges. He was barred from contact with anyone except police and his lawyer. According to Sina, he frequently cried and begged to be released for hospital treatment, claiming he was seriously ill. He continued to insist on his innocence, but his unstable mental state reportedly hindered police investigations and questioning. A legal source noted that detainees at Chaoyang Detention Center in Beijing had to follow a strict daily schedule, waking up at 7 a.m., lights out by 10 p.m. Breakfast consisted of buns and pickled vegetables, with milk served only on Thursdays. Lunch and dinner always included vegetables and meat, following a fixed menu. Inmates were allowed to have a bank card for family members to send up to $300 per month for living expenses. Due to COVID-19 restrictions at the time, family visits and food deliveries were strictly prohibited. For Kris Wu, once accustomed to a life of luxury, this was described as nothing short of a living hell. But by 2023, Chinese media reported a dramatic change. Kris Wu had adapted to prison life. He no longer requested preferential treatment and was said to be living humbly, even bonding with fellow inmates. Like other prisoners, he was required to work 8 hours a day and attend regular moral education classes. A fellow detainee from his cell block shared that Kris had lost a significant amount of weight but remained in stable health. That same person described him as disciplined, responsible, and someone who even spent his free time writing music and singing for other inmates. Thanks to good behavior and growing trust from others, Kris was reportedly appointed as a team leader, managing a group of prisoners. However, by October 2024, 3 years after his arrest, things seemed to shift again. According to 163.com, someone who purchased one of Kris Wu's luxury cars shared new details about his current status in prison. Kris was assigned to work in a data cable manufacturing job. But after his appeal was rejected, his cooperative attitude reportedly changed. He began faking illness and frequently asked his lawyer to file paperwork in an attempt to get hospital transfers or temporary medical parole, exposing Kris Wu's schemes to prey on young girls. Kris Wu's scandal sent shockwaves through China's entertainment world, not just because of his celebrity status, but due to the disturbing details that left the public stunned. In early July 2021, internet star Du Meiju publicly accused Kris Wu of targeting young girls like herself. She claimed he lured them with fake casting calls for acting roles or music video leads, only to schedule late-night meetings. He also allegedly deceived fans by inviting them to hotels for intimate fan meetings, which turned out to be private encounters with just him and the chosen girl. Du Meiju revealed that girls who spent the night with the singer and sealed the deal were rewarded with luxury designer items or 10,000 yuan, roughly 1,400 USD. She alleged that Kris Wu coerced her into a physical relationship when she was just 17, without using protection. According to her, at least 7 girls were manipulated by him, treated as mere toys. What horrified netizens most was the victim's youth. Du Meiju described how Kris Wu viewed young girls as items to select at will, often zeroing in on those born after 2000, fresh from college entrance exams. A witness recounted being approached by Kris Wu's staff with a recruitment ruse. "When I mentioned I was born in 1999, they said, 'That's okay, but 2000-2002 is ideal.'" This pattern suggests he deliberately targeted very young, inexperienced girls, especially those fitting his stated preference for a pure, simple, clean vibe, as he'd once shared on television. Leaked texts with various internet celebrities showed Kris Wu playing the part of an emotionally fragile guy craving affection and wary of betrayal. He'd start with charming lines like, "What are you up to? I'll pick you up," or "Baby, I miss you," before shifting to more suggestive topics. Questions like, "Have you been with anyone?" or "A girl's first time matters a lot" would follow. As conversations heated up, he'd slip in subtler, provocative remarks, allegedly his calculated playbook to ensnare his targets. After getting what he wanted, Kris Wu would dote on them briefly. Du Meiju recalled that following an encounter at his home, he promised, "I'll take responsibility for you," convincing her he was serious. He covered her online shopping spree, calling it an 18th birthday gift. Yet, after a few months, he ghosted her completely. As the scandal erupted, another internet personality, Li Beiping, saw her old story resurface. She described attending a 2017 party hosted by Wang Xicong, only to find herself among 70 to 80 stunning women with just 5 men present: Wang, Kris Wu, and 2 managers. "I'd never seen so many beautiful women in one place," she said. "It was like stepping into an emperor's court." No images leaked from the event, thanks to strict security. Phones were collected to block social media posts. As the controversy swelled, Chinese netizens unearthed old photos tied to Kris Wu's rumored nightclub antics, fueling the fire further. Family struggles under financial fallout. After Kris Wu was imprisoned, the companies under his name began shutting down one after another. At one point, Kris Wu owned 4 companies, now only one remains, based in Xiamen, co-owned with his cousin, Wu Lin. To settle debts caused by his scandal, the disgraced star was even forced to sell his properties. Wu Lin, who used to manage Kris Wu's career, partnered with him at the height of his fame to establish 19 companies, most of which were under Wu Lin's name and legal responsibility. These companies generated massive profits for Kris, at times placing him among the top 5 highest-earning celebrities in China. In April 2024, a new tax debt notice involving Kris Wu unexpectedly trended on Weibo. Some users commented, "Why are there still new updates about him?" And after 3 years of silence and no one managing the business, tax debt is inevitable. The outstanding taxes were related to corporate income tax, totaling approximately 4.28 million yuan, about 590,000 USD, with 2 separate debts of 2.227 million yuan and 2.049 million yuan. Reports revealed that after Kris Wu's sentencing, several brands took legal action to seek compensation from 2 key companies. One was Fanxi Inner Mongolia Media and Entertainment Co., Limited, a subsidiary of Kris Wu's management company, represented legally by his cousin Wu Lin. The other was Chaoding Inner Mongolia Cultural Media Co., Limited, founded and fully owned by Kris Wu's mother. Kris Wu's mother has also faced severe financial strain due to her son's scandal. He was ordered to pay compensation amounting to 880 million yuan, approx. 122 million USD, a figure comparable to the tax fine actress Fan Bingbing paid during her tax evasion case 6 years prior. To help repay the enormous debt, Kris's mother had to sell off his properties, including his luxury Brabus G800 SUV, which originally cost tens of millions of yuan. It was eventually marked down to 6 million yuan, about $840,000 USD. Taiwanese media noted that back in 2020, the Brabus G800 had an initial price of 15 million NTD when imported into Taiwan, with only 9 units brought in per year, all of which sold out quickly. Despite selling assets and seeking loans, Kris Wu's mother has still been unable to cover the massive financial shortfall left in the wake of her son's downfall. Cinema is corruption. After Kris Wu's scandal broke, the powerful forces backing him began to surface. His downfall, along with the collapse of his supporters, suggests a deliberate, systematic purge within the Chinese entertainment industry. In a 2013 reality show featuring EXO, Kris was seen revealing the color and shape of his personal Visa card while shopping. Internet users quickly identified it as one of the 5 elite credit cards exclusively issued to the ultra-wealthy in Europe and America. Upon returning to China, Kris Wu expanded into music, film, and fashion. He quickly became a sought-after figure for luxury brands like Bulgari and Louis Vuitton, and notably became the first Asian global ambassador for Burberry. Rumors swirled about his background. Some claimed he was the grandson of Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing, while others suggested his biological father was Li Kai-ming, a prominent professor at the South China Academy of Sciences. To this day, Kris Wu's family background remains a mystery, but many believe his career in China was facilitated by significant backing from the moment he left Korea. In 2016, Kris signed a management contract with Yao Lai Entertainment. Notably, Jackie Chan had close ties with this company and had established the Jackie Chan Film and Television Academy to train young actors, inviting major figures like Feng Xiaogan, Zhang Guoli, Xu Fan, and Li Bingbing to lecture. Although Kris lacked formal training and his talent was a topic of debate, he was also invited to share his experiences, highlighting his influential connections. Thanks to Jackie Chan's network, Kris gained access to premium resources from Hong Kong. Sina further revealed that the parent company of Yao Lai Entertainment was Wentu Holdings, which invested heavily in Jackie Chan's films like Kung Fu Yoga, CZ12, and Skip Trace. Kris's mother reportedly invested in Wentu herself, essentially funding Jackie Chan's projects in exchange for his support of her son. In 2013, Feng Xiaogang, Zhang Guoli, Li Bingbing, and Huang Xiaoming co-founded Junlian Jiayu, a company that later invested in Wentu. Through these connections, Kris Wu became deeply entrenched with the most powerful figures in Beijing and Hong Kong's entertainment circles, elevating him to an untouchable level of celebrity. A clear example of his status, in the film Never Gone, Kris starred alongside Liu Yifei, widely known as the Fairy Sister, and a long-established star. Yet, during promotions, Kris's name was listed before hers, a rare move in the industry. Moreover, Jackie Chan, Feng Xiaogang, and the Huayi brothers were all known to have ties to the political faction of Zheng Qinghong in Jiang Zemin. Li Shuping, a senior member of China's Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, CCDI, and head of its Broadcasting and Media Oversight Division, once publicly stated on the CCDI website, "The fields of journalism, publishing, and broadcasting in China are not clean. The situation remains serious and complex. Corruption risks are real." To put it bluntly, the Chinese film and television industry isn't just at risk of corruption, it is deeply entrenched in it. Even Xinhua News Agency, the state mouthpiece, acknowledged 5 major unspoken rules within the industry. Trading drama productions, a process filled with backdoor dealings. Hosting large-scale events, often state-funded but riddled with corruption. Satellite TV programming lacks transparent valuation, equipment procurement, pricing manipulated by insider relationships, advertising business full of kickbacks and shady deals. Just like many sectors in China, the entertainment industry has become a playground for the powerful to profit. One of the most influential figures in this space was Zheng Qinghuai, brother of Zheng Qinghong. Public records show he held multiple titles, including Special Inspector of China's Ministry of Culture, vice president of the Chinese National Culture Promotion Society and special envoy to Hong Kong. He was both an official and a businessman, a cultural mogul active across mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau. He served as chief director for numerous high-profile performances and produced several major TV dramas. Analysts believe that the 5 unspoken rules exposed by Xinhua were tailored to Zheng Qinghuai's sphere of influence. With the CCDI's recent pledge to crack down on these practices, it became clear that Zheng Qinghuai, long rumored to be the mastermind behind much of the entertainment world's shadow economy, had come under the watchful eye of Wang Qishan. And by targeting Zheng Qinghuai, the real goal might be Zheng Qinghong himself. So it's no surprise that Kris Wu, once a top-tier superstar, was blacklisted, taking down with him an entire empire of financial and political power. As the saying goes, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. And Kris Wu's fall may be one from which he can never recover. What do you think about today's topic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.